Hello guys, number 4 today. Hope you're all well. So, London it was and London it is. I made loads of mistakes. People do the first time in London. Trouble is, once you've made them, it's practically impossible to put things right. You're on the old downward spiral and that's that. I know you've no idea what I'm on about, so listen. I arrived in mid-winter. Not a good idea. Okay, so things were bad at home, really bad. And I had to get out. But if I had known what I know now, I'd have hung in there a little bit longer, toughed it out with Carol and Chris till March or even April. Spend one night in January in a doorway and you'll know why. I had 150 quid on me when I got off the train at King's Cross. It was what was left of my savings, plus a 20 Carol slipped me when Chris wasn't looking. 150. Doesn't sound bad, does it? Sounded okay to me. My plan was I'd get a room somewhere, nothing posh, a bedsit, and then I'd look for work. Again, nothing posh. I'd take anything for a start, just till I established myself. You know, I could look round properly. I was dead green, see. A babe in arms. It isn't like that. I didn't know. I strode out of the station with my backpack and a bedroll, and it felt like a new beginning. This was London, wasn't it? The centre, where it all happens. It's big, it's fast, it's full of opportunities. Nobody knows you, where you're from and what's gone on before. That's your business. All that stuff with Vince never happened. It's a clean sheet. You can invent your own past and call yourself anything you choose. I made a brilliant start, or so it seemed at the time. I turned right out of the station and started walking. I had no idea where I was going. I was looking for somewhere to live. The street I was walking up was called Pancras Road. I hadn't gone far when I came to this row of shops under a block of flats. One was a newsagent, and there were some postcards stuck on the glass door. I went for a closer look. They were ads, as I thought they'd be. Articles for sale, babysitters wanted, house repairs done cheap. One said, B&B suit working man rent negotiable. The word negotiable was spelt Negoshable, and the whole thing looked like a 6-year-old had written it, but I didn't care. There was an address, Wharfdale Road. I went in the shop and asked directions, and it was back the way I'd come. It was a sleazoid place. And the rent wasn't all that negotiable either. 50 a week, the guy said. He had a face like a rat. Fortnight in advance, he said. And I'm doing you a favour. Most places once a month. I'm looking for work, I said. I haven't much money. Can we negotiate? I told you I was green. Negotiate? His voice was a sort of screech. You can negotiate yourself right out of my house, lad, if that's your attitude. It's 50 a week. Take it or leave it. I took it. And that was my second mistake. Oh, I was thankful at the time. Don't think I wasn't. I had a place to lay my head and keep out of the weather. And I hadn't been in London an hour. If I'd have known, though, there were other places I could have tried. Places like the YMCA where there's help and advice and food and a bed and if you're lucky enough to get in. But like I said, I didn't know. I looked for work. I really did. First thing next morning, I went to the job centre. The woman there said I should go to the careers office because I wasn't 18. She said I should go to the DSS as well. I went to the careers office and filled in a form. They asked where I'd come from and I said up north. I didn't want to be too precise in case good old Vince took it in his head to come looking for me. I gave them my new address, but it was just like at home. There was no work. There was no training places. I went to the DSS and filled in another form. I asked for advice and a guy interviewed me. I told him I had £50 after paying 2 weeks rent in advance and that I was looking for work. He asked me a lot of stuff about why I'd left home. I explained about Vince and Chris and all that, and he said they'd have to decide whether I was entitled to anything. It might be several weeks, he said. That was when I started to feel nervous. I had a room for 2 weeks maximum. I I didn't know much, but I had a feeling Ratface wasn't the sort who'd wait for his money. If I wasn't earning in a fortnight, I'd be out on my ear. Daily routine orders 5. It's begun the recruiting, and it was as easy as falling off a log. I didn't have to go far. My flat, mine and Sappho's, is in Mornington Place, and I found my first recruit in a doorway near Camden Station. A mile, if that. Mind you, it was a filthy night, cold, wet and windy. Cut straight through you, that wind. I was wearing a parka, stormproof trousers and strong boots, and still I was perished. What he must have felt like in that damp, tatty denim, I shudder to think. It was 1:30 in the morning, so he'd probably been there an hour or two, freezing his tabs off. And that's why he came so easy. What I did was, I squatted down in front of him and I said, "What's up, mate? You down on your luck, are you?" I smiled as I said this, my best do-gooder smile. I was prepared for a possible rebuff. I mean, he might have been deeply suspicious, thought I was a woofter or something, but it didn't seem to cross his mind. Half daft with cold anyway. Anyway, he opened his eyes and looked at me and frowned and mumbled, "Who are you?" He was Scottish. "Me?" I gave him a smile again. "Shelter's my name. I run a hostel up on Plender Street." That got him. "Hostel?" he said. "What sort of a hostel?" "For young people," I said. "The Townhouse Project. You might have heard of us." He wouldn't, because we didn't exist. I made the whole thing up, name and everything, part of my preparation. He fell for it, hook, line and sinker. "Any chance of a bed?" he said. "A bite to eat?" I shook my head, the rueful gesture I'd practised in the mirror. "Not tonight. Full up, I'm afraid. Might be something tomorrow if you get there early." "Ah," he said, and the light went out of his eyes. He's thinking about the long, cold hours ahead. I let him ponder the prospect for a bit, and then I said, casual-like, "There's a comfy couch at my place, if you don't mind roughing it." "Roughing it? Brilliant touch that, and it worked." "You sure?" he says. The light's back and I could see his little brain working. He's thinking, this guy runs a hostel. Warm beds, grub, it gets full, but I'm in with him, I'm all right. "You sure?" he says. I gave him the smile again. "Sure. No probs, it's just round the corner, come on." And that's all there was to it. I strode out, and he trotted at my heels like a ruddy poodle. It was pissing it down, and he was sodden by the time we reached the flat. I introduced Sappho, showed him the bathroom, told him to strip off, threw in some stuff I'd got for the purpose, thick sweaters, cord trousers, the sort of stuff do-gooders wear, and went off to heat some tomato soup. And while he was sitting on the sofa scoffing it, I slipped up behind him and put him out of his misery. Cruel? I don't think so. He's neither cold nor hungry now. Nobody wanted him, so nobody will miss him. And there's one less dosser to clutter up the place. Who loses? Till tomorrow.